Finally, we're getting some traction on the Tesla Semi program, which, as you guys know, I'm a fairly big fan of electric big trucks, and I was very disappointed earlier this year when they said that it had been delayed until 2022. However, the CEO of Pepsi was still expecting some Tesla Semis to be delivered by the end of this year, and there's only 20 days left, but Elon Musk didn't say that that wasn't true, but he just said to not give it too much attention because they're not planning on doing the Semi in any type of volume production for quite some time. They've said in the past that they could do the Semi now, but the issue is they don't have enough batteries, of course, and the profitability per cell of battery produced is much, much higher in Model Y and in Cybertruck than it is the Semi. If you consider just looking at the Tesla Semi dated webpage, it uses under 2 kilowatt hours per mile, and the range is supposed to be, 300, 500 miles. Yeah, you can easily expect a 600 to 900 kilowatt hour battery pack in these things, maybe more. And if you're selling one vehicle for $200,000, that could supply the batteries for 10 vehicles that will each sell for $60,000 or $80,000. Yeah, putting it in individual cars is much more profitable. So it's going to be a while before we see any meaningful production, but as we reported on earlier this year, Giga Nevada has actually been hiring people to work on a Tesla Semi prototype manufacturing line, at least according to sources from Electrek. And now, thanks to some footage spotted by a source of Sawyer Merritt's, it's looking like that pilot production line has technically begun. The reason we're talking about this is because a Tesla Semi without Department of Transportation stickers or manufacturing plates has now been spotted driving around the factory, tearing it up around the parking lot, which has also been really cool to watch because, it accelerates so quickly and it's turning so tight. But because there's no stickers and there's no manufacturing plates, that implies that this vehicle, considering it seemingly has not come off the back of some other semi-truck moving it around like we saw earlier this year, this one is looking fairly likely to be built at this pilot line. And according to sources from Electrek, this line could be potentially producing maybe 5 semis a week. So again, not any type of serious volume, but a handful of which they could probably build and deliver to Pepsi by the end of this year, who is currently building the first commercial mega charger that Tesla talked about way back in 2017 when they first unveiled the Semi. They've told reservation holders that they're partnering with the CharIN organization to agree on an open standard charging port for megawatt charging systems. Basically, you're going to need a special connector if you want to charge batteries this big in a quick amount of time. And Tesla doesn't want to roll into the whole, CCS connector versus Tesla connector issue that we're still facing the consequences of in the United States. So I'm glad that they're probably finalizing a standard now since pilot production has begun. But there's also been a lot of talk of Tesla themselves actually using the Semi to transport materials back and forth between Fremont and Giga Nevada. Now, Sawyer Merritt has said that he's not entirely sure which batteries are being used at the pilot production line, but that he would be surprised if they weren't using 4680 batteries, since Elon has on multiple occasions stated that the Semi does need the 4680s to work. There's really no point in trying to make the Semi use 2170 cells because the energy density is far lower, and we know that the Cato Road 4680 battery facility has been ramping batteries for a while now. Lots of people have been talking about the hiring ramps going on there, and Elon said they were hoping to get it close to 10 gigawatt hour production rate per year around this time in 2021. So there's certainly 4680 cells available, and since Tesla will be using these Semis primarily, and maybe Pepsi likely citing some kind of NDA, and they're doing like a pilot customer program with them so that they can move materials and supplies between facilities. But if there's something that goes inherently wrong with any of the Semis, it doesn't blow up in the press. They just let Tesla know about it, and Tesla does their best to improve the pilot production line. But if you think about it, it actually could make a ton of sense. Assuming they might install a mega charger at Fremont, and we already know they have a couple mega chargers installed at the Giga Nevada facility that they've been testing recently. This means you could bring 2170 cells from the Nevada plant using the Tesla Semi going downhill to the Fremont factory and probably still retain a good amount of your battery. Maybe top off at Fremont if these are 300-mile range semis. I'm not sure if they are, but then you could load up those semi trucks with 4680 batteries from Cato Road, drive them back to Giga Nevada, and you'd use those 4680 batteries to help you build more Tesla Semis. So Tesla could actually be using their own trucks to move their own batteries to help build more trucks, which I love the amount of meta usefulness we're getting from these electric vehicles. So obviously, I think it makes a ton of sense for Tesla to try to switch their entire semi-truck fleet to Tesla semis as soon as possible. I don't know how many semis Pepsi is expecting, but assuming this pilot production line is able to output at a steady rate, we could be looking at a few dozen semi-trucks in the first quarter of 2022, which is pretty exciting. I think long-term the plan is still to do volume production of the Semi at Giga Texas, but most sources right now are claiming that volume production won't start until 2023 even, so not even next year. But the primary reason is because the Semi is going to be a much lower margin vehicle. The batteries, of course, way more profitable in the Model Y and Cybertruck, so it won't really make that much financial sense to ramp a bunch of Tesla Semis for customers until you're actually fully ramping the 4680 battery at an extreme scale to where it's gotten actually much more fundamentally cheaper to build each of these batteries. And that's never the case when you first start mass production of something. It always takes a while to ramp up fully, and then you can make those batteries much more affordably. So that's why you should likely expect the Tesla Semi to be in limited production for quite some time. Of all vehicles to be stuck in a limited production state for a year, I think the Semi makes sense given the total vehicle units delivered is going to be far lower than all other Tesla vehicles. And it would certainly be weird if Tesla started delivering semis to their customers but was still using diesel semis for moving around their own cargo and supplies. That would probably just be a bad look for the company, and a lot of people would be confused by it. So I think it makes total sense that throughout all of 2022, Tesla might have this like beta customer delivery program where a handful of companies can take delivery of the Semi, but not very many. And then the rest of the semis they build are just going to be used for Tesla's own in-house purposes, moving batteries between Fremont and Nevada. And hopefully they could even spare some semis for use out in Giga Texas, since that should be operational fairly soon, and they're going to need semi-trucks to move all those Model Ys around and bringing supplies and cargo in. So I think it would actually be pretty cool to know that for a long time, every Tesla Semi you spot on the road is being used by Tesla for Tesla, helping them accelerate the transition and reaping the benefits of those cost savings. Now they don't have to waste so much money on diesel and oil, but I'm hoping along with the Cybertruck update we get at the next earnings call, Tesla could actually, update the Semi landing page. It's been the exact same way ever since 2017, and it's incredibly dated. It doesn't even have the term full self-driving, it just calls it enhanced autopilot, which I actually prefer the name of that, so maybe keep that the same. But still, I think it's fairly unlikely that the range numbers and the watt hours per mile and the price point that the Tesla Semi is starting at is accurate anymore, so update that webpage to be a bit more in line with 2022 specifications. And since we're entering pilot production and kind of finalizing a lot of the design, maybe even give people the total curb weight, because that seems to be one of the biggest complaints of the electric Semi transition, is people saying, oh, the batteries are too heavy so it can't move that much, when in reality, I'm pretty sure thanks to the improved energy density of the 4680 batteries and the structural pack they'll likely use with it, as Tesla has mentioned in their own impact reports, the Semi should have the same payload capacity as diesel semi-trucks. So there's no compromise in payload capacity, only benefits with fuel savings and likely a bigger upfront cost, but semi-trucks are meant to be used long term, so cost of ownership does matter quite a bit. And maybe even include some more references to megachargers and how they work and what they look like, what the plug is designed for. All that good stuff would be perfect at the next earnings call for a product roadmap update, which Elon has promised. So what are you guys most excited for at this pilot production line over at Giga Nevada? Feel free to let me know down below. Thank you to everyone on Patreon helping me afford my first Tesla, hopefully with 4680 batteries as well. And to everyone else, appreciate you just for watching. Take care. Have a great day.